So we've been using Ortlieb products for the better half of 2 decades. They truly are the gold standard for bike travelers. And today we've got a special video because we are here at Ortlieb headquarters to give a exclusive behind the scenes tour. So let's go check it out. So we're here with Volker, who's the marketing manager over at Ortlieb. Tell us about this historical bike here and why it's so special.
Well, this is Hartmut's bike, and when he went on a bike journey after he finished high school, that was when he came up with the idea to make waterproof panniers, because there were no waterproof panniers then. And after another night in a wet and soaked sleeping bag, he just decided there has to be a better way. And he was passed by a lorry, and he thought, well, under Tapula material, everything stays dry, so maybe we should do bike bags out of Tapula material.
One of the things that strikes me about this bike is that there's already a frame bag.
Some things come over as new, like you do bike packing and you're like, oh, cool new frame pack. Yeah, when you look at it, it has been there for a long time. The setup is one of the first production made ones. So here he still uses the hooks, which are just like hanging onto the side of your rack.
Okay, so they don't quite lock yet.
No, but this is something where you can see the development throughout the years. So he started with hooks.
This isn't a quick release, it's just a big U bracket.
It is like the first quick release system we kind of had. So you have a lever on top and you still can pick it up. But this one is not as easy attachable and detachable as our new ones.
Where did Hartmut find the hardware for this?
Well, he didn't find it, so he started to do it himself.
Oh, wow.
So that's why we also have our own mounting systems and stuff like this. Because by that time, there was just kind of a white empty sheet when he started in the bike sector. So this is the sewing machine of his mother. So this is really the one sewing machine where it started with when he came back from England. And he said, I want to make bike bags out of tarpaulin. He sat down at this old Bernina and he started to sew the first bags. He then figured out when you sew a bag, you have to tape it. You have to sew it inside out. Whenever you sew something, you make holes into the material. So there's kind of a pre-damage you do to the bag. So he had to figure out something else, and that's when he came up with the high frequency welding. This is something, it was already present in industry, but only for straight lines.
So the construction has changed over the years. You said initially he just sewed it. Was this one of the just sewn only, or does this incorporate some welding as well?
Well, the whole corpus of the bag is still sewed. But on top here on the lid, you can already see some of the straight welding edges. But most of the bag, as you can see, is still sewn. So that's when it all started. Kind of the oldest model, it's from 1983. So this is just 1 year after he founded Ortlieb as a company.
This still has a very old hardware system where it's just literally a hook. And you said he just got this from like the local hardware store?
Yeah, so he just went to a hardware store, took a hook, turned it upside down, and so that's more or less. And then you have like this small rubber hook, which you can clamp to your rack so it doesn't flap.
Okay, yeah, nice. This is kind of the next evolution of the bag. What's going on here that's different?
So here you can already see that the seams on the bag are welded. So here he already adapted the high frequency welding in the production process. And this is so the first bag, which is really 100% waterproof, the tight seams and everything that Ortlieb still stands for.
What year would have this been?
This is about 85.
85. All right, now we're going to take a huge leap in time. What year is this?
So this one is from our 40 years anniversary. So this is from 2022. And we have it here because we want to show that we have the same idea of this bag we started with still in our portfolio. So this is our bike packer from 2022. It didn't really change by its appearance. So you still have the welded seams, still has the lid. Has the possibility of a side front outer pocket. So this all stay the same. But when you flip it around, you can see how Ortlieb developed, because this is now our Quick Lock 2.1 system, one-handed operating system, locks in place like on itself. It's you can adapt it to your rack without any tools. So this is something we're proud of that we kind of developed also.
And of course, we've got to talk about the frame bag. Similar in some ways, shape-wise, but different than others. Walk us through this.
So that's now from our bike packing lineup. Ever since like 2017, 2016, when bike packing started to come up, Ortlieb has been there with its own bike packing line. And we already had the idea of the frame pack like 40 years ago. But now this is the bike packing version. So it's really adaptable to your bike. And then it has a waterproof zipper, which is also developed by Hartmut Ortlieb. And yeah, this is kind of the evolution of the frame pack.
So next, I think we're going to take a tour of some of the production facilities, see the raw material, and a little bit about the construction process. So roughly, how big is the facility here?
So we have about 3, 4, 5 halls we work in. Overall, I think we're about 12,000 or 14,000 square meters. Wow. We have just about 300 people working here. Right. And we do all our products in-house.
So I'm going to guess this says material proofing, so like testing?
Yes, that's where we test our incoming material.
Yeah.
And we do a whole bunch of tests so that we can assure that all the fabric we use is in good quality.
Cool, let's go in.
So there are 2 pieces of material welded together.
Yep.
And now we will rip them apart.
All right, let's break stuff.
Yes.
It's so like strangely satisfying to watch.
And what you actually see is the welding is pulling off the coating of the fabric. So the welding of the 2 coatings is still kind of holding together, but it pulls off the coating of the fabric. And now we can see, like on the graphic here, like what resistance it had for the fabric and the coating.
So pass, fail, pass, fail. Good.
That's a pass.
All right, it's a pass.
Yes. So what he's doing right now is he's putting in a piece of material, and it is put in a certain way so it flexes 3-dimensional.
Okay.
And this is a test we do with our material to see if it breaks under flexing. And it has to do this flexing, what you will see later on, 100,000 times.
Oh, dang. It's a lot quieter than I thought it was going to be.
Yes, it's just now counting up the cycles.
Oh.
And we do this so it goes up to 100,000, which takes about 8 hours.
Okay, so this number here is just counting up.
It's just counting up, and each count is 1 time of flexing.
Right. What does the material usually look like after? Oh, like this. Okay. I mean, it doesn't look very worn.
No, but you can see, like, if you go here, you see like those small dots.
Yeah.
So this is actually where this is a corner of the folding, and so this has the highest stress.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna take you here where all the raw materials coming in, the fabrics. So all the fabrics you see here are for different bags, and there are different kind of fabrics.
Okay.
So there are PVC coated ones, there are PU coated ones, single coated, double coated, and different weights. So some are more robust, some are a little lighter.
What's this really bright teal colored?
It's the colorway Lagoon, what we call it. And this one is one of our PU coated tarpaulin material.
Okay. What products does this color end up being used on?
So we use this for our free line, which contains a back roller, a front roller, and an ultimate. Yeah. And that's where you use it. And also, I think we have a rack pack and a back roller with quick lock 3.1. Cool. We can go around and you see how much of the material we have.
Right.
Most of the material that we use are made in Germany. Okay. Like 70% of our material is actually from Germany. Right. And then we always try to go the next step to see if we have it in Europe. Right. And then if we don't find it, then we turn to Asia or other countries to get our stuff. So you see, like, this is kind of the amount of material we have. Right. These rolls are already cut in the size we need for our machinery.
Right.
When they arrive, they probably have double the size. So over here, we have our 3 different options of cutting the material, the fabric for our bags. So we can do it with a laser, we can do it with water, or with a punch press.
Okay.
The most advanced, and I think we can have a look at this right now, is the water jet.
Yeah.
With a pressure of 300 bar, we can cut through up to 16 layers of material.
Right.
Just with a really, really small water straight.
Right.
The other option we use for cutting our material is the punch press.
Okay.
So there are some materials which we cannot cut with water.
Okay.
Because they would soak up water into the material.
Okay.
So what we have is over here are our punch presses. So these punch presses work with a weight of about 2 to 4 tons of pressure. And to cut the material,
so this is like a die.
you have like a cutting knife.
Yeah, yeah.
And they are positioned onto the material. And then the table is pushing it up with the pressure of like a lot of tons.
Yeah.
And it can punch out material up to 24 layers.
Oh, wow.
Depending on the material and also on the cutting on the cutting knife. If we go to the bags, so here it is really organized as you can see it. Let's say the Vario.
Yeah.
You like the bag pretty much. So what we do here is this is the cutting boards for the Vario.
Yeah.
So here you can see the cutting board of the circumference.
Yeah.
2 sizes, 26 liters, 20 liters.
Okay.
So these are the things we can do with the cutting boards.
Yeah.
The flap, which is flapping around, we actually cannot do with a cutting board. So that one we have to do with the water jet. Yeah. So not every bag has like all the same parts coming from one type of cutting.
I like how it's set up like a library.
Yeah, and you can see like here we have our bag rollers, sport rollers, which is always nice to see because you can really kind of see the bag. So these are our velocity backpacks.
Yeah.
So this one is the back. Shoulder straps attached. Shoulder straps attached. That's for the hook and loop.
Right. Yeah.
I think this is a key element for us to be competitive, to have everything in flow, that everything just like
super streamlined
to each other, and that we can be competitive with our competitors in Asia. So this is where we already stack up cutted material for production process. So this is for a Vario.
Okay.
The black one and the dark sand one. And so they're already stacked up here and then brought for the production lot into production. So now we can have a look at the actual production of the bag.
Okay.
There are some things we don't want to show, we can't show to have like this kind of advantage in production.
This is currently all the things you have in production now, or?
These are all the products that are currently in production in this hall. We have bag rollers, sport rollers, we have the Ultimates, and we have the Attract here. Here are the 3 fabric pieces, what we need to make the corpus of a bag roller.
Yeah.
So we have the circumference, the back side, and the front side.
Yeah.
And then, this is the magic, what we cannot show. It's our welding machines where we actually make out of those 3 pieces, that 1 piece.
Right.
Cool. So this is the raw corpus of a bag roller.
Okay.
So the welded seam is that one all around.
Okay.
And as you can see, there are now just inherently like joined together.
Right.
You cannot rip them apart, and actually the seam is even stronger than the surrounding material.
Oh, interesting.
So this one is now completely sealed. It's waterproof, and there are no stitches in there, so there's no perforation of the material.
Right.
And this is just the best way to actually make the bag waterproof.
Right.
Even though we cannot show it,
yeah,
the process actually is quite easy.
Yeah.
You know how a microwave works?
Punch in some numbers and pizza comes out.
You create a magnetic field or
Okay.
an electromagnetic field, and it kind of gets the atoms in the material like swinging.
Okay, like
So
vibrating.
they get vibrating and they heat up. And what we do is we take this field or this microwaves or high frequency and put it with electrodes just right on the spots where we need it.
Okay.
So there's no welding here, there's no welding here.
Right.
We don't have to heat up the material everywhere.
Yeah.
So what we do, we just do it on the seam.
It's a very like controlled and precise process.
Yes, exactly. At the beginning, when high frequency welding started in the industry,
Right.
they could just join like two big pieces together
Right.
and weld it with a straight line.
Yeah.
But what we do is we come with a straight line and then we do the contour of the bags
Right.
with one welding process.
Right.
And you see how smooth the rounding is.
Yeah.
And this is kind of the special part. So when we now welded the corpus of the bag,
Yeah.
the next thing we have to do is to kind of tighten up the seams and then to attach the buckles on top so we can close the bag actually.
Right.
That's our two processes that we do with the sewing machine.
Yeah.
And they're kind of working together. So one is doing the upper part,
Yeah.
and the other one is doing the buckles. So then when we have these two things attached and like kind of made the whole corpus,
Yeah.
the last thing we have to do is attach the quick lock system
Okay.
and all the screwing parts.
Right.
And that's what's happening here.
The bags are in the boxes. Where are we going next?
So now we go to our warehouse.
Okay.
Our warehouse holds about 4,000 of these
Holy smokes.
kind of wire boxes.
Yeah.
We have 4,000 places to store them. We have kind of a value of about 1 to 2 million in the warehouse.
Right.
And it's normally renewed like every 10 to 16 days,
Holy smokes,
depending on time of the season. So we have in here everything which is just ready to pick, and it can be shipped out right away here in the front, and that's everything going to Germany. When we have a look down here and go to the back, you already see those kind of big boxes.
Yeah.
That's where we pre-pack stuff going out to our distributors.
Okay.
We're present in over 40 countries with a
Right.
distributor. So we send them out the pallets going straight to their warehouse and they're packed in the back.
So give me some numbers. Like how many bags have you guys shipped over the lifetime of the company?
Well, lifetime is really, really hard to say because like in the beginning, you don't keep track of everything. But overall, we can say that we ship probably around 1.1 million bags a year.
Right.
At least during the last couple of years. So if you go back probably 10 years, it's a little less. But if you calculate it down, you probably have about 25 to 30 million bags
Holy smokes.
up in the world, especially with the back roller. That's about the highest selling. So we're here now at our customer service where we do repairs.
Yeah.
We do actually over 18,000 repairs a year.
Right.
And then we also have over 50 service partners throughout Germany.
Right.
And now also building up with our distributors in other countries who help us to do the repairs as fast as possible.
Right.
We have like here Daniel, one of our colleagues, and he is repairing bags.
All right. Let's see the magic happen.
So the first thing is that you have always to get the inside out.
Okay.
Because you repair it always from the inside, so you don't see it that much.
Right.
And it will be welded from the inside.
Ah, okay.
So this is like a high temperature fan.
Okay.
So that's what we use to weld our patches onto it. The first thing is you cut out a patch, which is the size of your hole or the cut you need. And then you cut the edges so it's rounded. So there are no loose frays of fabric that can like fray up. So you have this rounded, and so it's easier to weld on and sticks better. So now he just puts a little bit of temperature into it and closes the seam just without any patch. That's just with the existing little frays of fabric. That's just to like keep the hole together, but it's not repaired yet.
It's like a tack weld.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now with the heat and applying of the pressure,
Yeah.
the patch is attached and it will seal the hole.
Ah,
Um,
okay.
and he's always really careful on the edges so that everything is really plain onto the fabric.
Yeah.
So there are no little edges where something can like scratch against and loosen it.
Yeah.
So there you have to be extra careful that everything is just tight and not any frays or something sticking out. That's now the seam which is repaired, so you actually almost don't see anything at all.
Right. Nice. Super clean.
And now he will punch out the hole again
Okay.
so that everything can be screwed on again, and then it's like good to go again.
Do you know how old this particular bag is? Does it say or?
As it doesn't have a production stamp,
Yeah.
I think, and that one is still a quick look one, and a production bag, I would guess it's over 12 years.
Oh wow.
These are all bags waiting for repair, replacement, or something.
Yeah.
We have
And then you guys keep just a whole library of different hardware.
That's his whole library of all the parts he can use to repair it. So these are all buckles or plastic parts, screws, whatever he needs to repair the bags. And then at the end, every bag is sent out again with
Nice.
some mints saying all freshen up again. And that's what we do with all our repairs every year.
Do you know what the oldest bag you guys have seen come through?
So over 30 years.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like those bags we saw earlier.
Okay, yeah.
We've seen some of those bags coming in here to being repaired.
So I've noticed as we're walking around, there are all these like colored lines on the ground. What do these signify?
Well, they're the thick yellow lines, and that separates where the forklift can drive and where people can walk. But then there are the small, thin colored lines, and that's for our automatic carts.
Oh wow.
They're driving by itself around here.
Yeah.
And they carry like cut material to production stations or stuff like this.
Right.
So this is kind of an automated process we started just this year.
So they're like those the Zumbas or Roombas, but more useful. Like
Yeah, and they can carry a bit more.
So you've walked us through how the products are made. We're going to back up a little bit and talk about ideation, and specifically this product. This is the Vario. What's the problem that it solved?
So it's a backpack and it's a bike bag.
Right.
So you can see it has a full carrying system as a backpack, but you can also put it on your bike rack.
Yeah.
To do this, with this one, you have to completely detach the carrying system from the back, which takes a lot of time. It was really not that easy to do.
We'll just cue some Benny Hill music like right here.
Yeah. There are 4 pins where you can connect the carrying system to. Afterwards, you can fold it in half.
Here, I'll help you.
You help me a bit. And now you can try to store it away. So it's completely tucked into this little bag. You see, it's not that convenient to do. It doesn't store really nicely, but when you have it in here, if you turn it over, you have your Quick-Click 2.1 system. The thing that we got as a feedback was it has to be faster.
Right.
We need a better storage for the carrying system. So we went back to the drawing table and we came to our designers and said, hey, please come up.
Please fix it.
Please fix it. Please come up with another idea.
Yeah. And then they came back with this. So this is not the most current one, but it's probably more similar to the current one than the old one. What was the big innovation with this one?
So that's where we start. The first innovation is that we can just convert it within seconds, more or less, because you just flip it over this edge. You cover up your carrying system.
Yeah.
You hook it in again, whoop, and off you go. So
what was the reaction in the room when Connie, the designer, like presented this?
Well, when Connie come in there and she did this, we were like, what? What?
Do it again?
Do it again? That's fast. We all loved it really a lot.
Did she have like different iterations of the bag, or did she more or less present this?
No, we had like 3 or 4 iterations before. There was one folding underneath, and we had one going from both sides, and you would close it on the front.
Right.
But then you would have the problem with straps falling out on the bottom. because that's also something really practical, that it kind of stops loose ends from like falling into the spokes or stuff like this.
When there's multiple like competing like ideas, like do you guys vote, or is there like how do you sort through them and say this is the one?
Well, for each product, we don't only have like one product manager, but we have a core team. So that consists out of 4 to 5 people. Yeah, a calculation where you give points for, let's say, each feature we want to have in a briefing.
Right.
And then each iteration gets points. So maybe for fast transformation, it gets 10 points, but for style, only 1. Or and then you get kind of a comparable number, and you can see which iteration actually meets your criteria of the briefing best.
Right.
Then the next questions came up of people, of end consumers, like, hey, that's really cool, but it's quite big. Is there a possibility to have a smaller one?
Right.
And because it sold that well, we said, well, let's build like a small family.
Right.
And the next Vario was born, and that one was the 20-liter version of it. And we could not just scale it down. With the bigger Vario, we would have a stiff bottom,
right,
which is not needed here because it's smaller and it doesn't have so much weight in it, and also not such a wide bottom. The other thing is, because it's a little smaller, we could not use the outer pocket here.
Okay.
So these are things you have to take into consideration when you just want to scale something down. But the development doesn't really end with the production of a bag, because you will continuously get feedback from the market. When they came and said, there are some problems with the little fabric hole loops for the hooks, they started to fray and to break. And so we came up with those TPU loops, or TPU tunnels. And this is now the latest development for the bags.
Right.
The old ones with the fabrics, they break, and you have a problem with them, you can send them in, and we can replace them with the tunnels.
Cool.
The time between the old one and the latest one is about 4 years.
Again, one of my favorite bags from you guys, probably my most used bike bag period in my daily life. So nice to see its life cycle.
And as I said, well, we're building up a family, so I think there's more to come.
Yeah. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this behind the scenes tour of Ortlieb. It's super cool to finally be here after using their products for better half of 2 decades. If you guys like this video, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And as always, keep the supple side down.